would like to thank everyone attending today, as this is one of our most important events of the year. We are celebrating and welcoming the newest members of our alumni community, the class of 2024. So on behalf of the more than 4,000 Columbus Academy graduates, I would like to say to our seniors, congratulations and welcome to the Alumni Association. You are in impressive company. From business leaders, to teachers, social workers, to entrepreneurs, medical professionals, and artists, we all have one thing in common. We're proud alumni of the Columbus Academy. The Alumni Board consists of 20 alumni volunteers who serve to promote and serve the mission of the Columbus Academy while also creating affinity and camaraderie for alumni worldwide. One of the ways we do this is in the nomination and selection of annual alumni awards, including the Young Alumni Award. This distinction celebrates and honors alumni who have distinguished themselves through overall service to and involvement with the Columbus Academy, as well as service and achievement in the community. It is limited to individuals who have graduated within the previous 20 years who have brought positive recognition to the school as well as themselves. I am proud to introduce the 2024 Young Alumni Award winner, Stephanie Domas, from the class of 2005. Having started her career with over 10 years of ethical hacking, reverse engineering, and advanced vulnerability analysis, Stephanie has a deep knowledge and passion for the hacker mindset. Pivoting her offensive skills to the defense, she built and led 2 successful cybersecurity businesses focused on defense of embedded systems, medical devices, and the healthcare industry. Stephanie is currently the Chief Information Security Officer at Canonical, the maintainers of the world's most popular Linux operating system, Ubuntu. Previously, she was the Chief Security Technology Strategist for Intel, where she owns the cross-Intel security technology strategy, formulating and implementing strategies to accelerate Intel's strength, competitiveness, and revenue growth in the area of security. Stephanie graduated cum laude from The Ohio State University in electrical and computer engineering. Please join me in recognizing and welcoming this year's Young Alumni Award recipient.
So thank you everyone for letting me be a part of this special day. So I have a confession to make. I do not like taking risks. So this might surprise you because the career history that you just heard sounds like somebody who took a lot of risks in their professional life. There was a lot of career growth, a lot of expanding scope. There was a lot of challenging of the status quo, and at the end of the day, I took a lot of risks. So how does somebody who is telling you that they don't like taking risks have a career like that? So when I was asked to think about something I wanted to talk to you about, I decided the thing I wanted to talk about was how I became comfortable, or how I think about taking risks, so that I was able to make very comfortable and intentional risk-based decisions throughout my career. So when people talk about decisions, they often use the metaphor of a door. I've always really liked that metaphor, and so my philosophy built on top of that. So when I look at a door, a decision to be made, there are 2 different types of doors you can be faced with. The first is a two-way door. A two-way door is something that when you walk through it, it is very easy for you to turn around and walk right back out. It doesn't matter if you spend time inside that door. In fact, you can spend sometimes a long time and still decide at the end of that you want to walk back out. And in a two-way door, you can do that with almost no friction or resistance. The opposite of that, however, is the one-way door. The one-way door, unfortunately, is that door that when you pass through it, it becomes really difficult, if not impossible, for you to walk back out. There may be some path that allows you to get back out of that door, but it will be fraught with obstacles, and it will be difficult. So why am I telling you this? So, throughout my journey, my career, and even early on in my grade school days, when I was faced with a decision, I found myself paralyzed. I found myself with my natural inclination to go to whatever was the safest route. I decided I need to find a way to be comfortable with taking risk. So when I first started college, I was freaked out over picking my major. I knew I loved computers, I loved programming, I loved electronics. But even at the university that I chose, there was actually 3 different majors that would have covered those areas. And inside of those majors, there was at least 12 different specializations that I electrical engineering was actually the right path. And instead of panicking, I took the opportunity to sit back and say, you know what? This is actually a two-way door. If I choose electrical engineering and I choose that I don't like it, I can just go back in and change my major to the one that I feel more comfortable with. And so even though I ended up staying in my original major, right, I did change my subspecialization a few times and ended up focusing in processors. So that was a two-way door, right? And seeing it as a two-way door helped me be more comfortable in taking that initial risk. Now sometimes you come to a decision and it looks like a one-way door, and in fact it is a one-way door. But by being intentional about it up front and recognizing it for a one-way door, you can try to find a way to make it a two-way door. So early on in my career, I was a few years in, doing my engineering thing, and I got tapped on the shoulder and asked, do you want to be a project manager? Right? You have a need for a project manager, you're very organized, you like leading people, you want to be a project manager. Here I was as an engineer thinking, well, I'm not a project manager, I'm an engineer, right? Do I really want to do this with my career? What if I don't like being a project manager? Is a project manager even skills that I want to learn? And I started to spiral and I started to freak out about this because in my mind, I saw a one-way door, right? If I pivoted my career, if I changed groups, it was going to be very difficult to come back. So I stopped myself and I said, this is a one-way door, but I refuse to let it be. Because I'm being intentional about it up front, I'm going to build an escape here. I'm going to make this a two-way door. So I went back to my manager and said, I'm not going to move teams, but I will try being a project manager 50% of my time for 6 months. If that's okay with you, in 6 months we can meet and talk about this again. And guess what? In 6 months, I ran right back out of that door. I hated being a project manager. It was terrible. It was really not for me. But you know what? Because I was intentional about it, I was comfortable taking that risk because I made it a two-way door, something that would have been a one-way. That was okay. I learned a lot while I was doing it. Sometimes, unfortunately, it really is a one-way door. But part of my framework and my mental model for accepting risk is that when I recognize something actually truly is a one-way door, now I have the ability to tackle that head on. So, at the startup that was mentioned earlier in my bio, we were developing a software product. And I came to the conclusion at some point that the software was no longer viable. It was something that couldn't be successful, and I made the recommendation to shut that software down. This was a one-way door, right? Shutting that software down meant us telling customers who were paying customers that we were breaking their contract with them. It meant telling the board and our investors that that software had failed. And ultimately, it meant letting go of a number of really great developers. I recognized that for the one-way door it was. I freaked out adequately. I spent a lot of time researching alternatives. I couldn't find a way to make it a two-way door. But part of it was I intentionally knew it was a one-way door, and that helped me, even though it was uncomfortable. It helped me know and understand the gravity of the risk I was taking by making that recommendation. So my goal today, with my 5 minutes I got up on stage, was to simply impart upon you the way I think about risk, right? All of you are imparting on the next parts of your journey, and they are full of risks, they are full of unknowns, and they are full of doorways that you're going to stand in front of and freak out about whether or not you should walk in them. So my whole goal today was literally to just pass along to you how somebody who actually really does not like taking risks has found a really successful way to be intentional and comfortable about taking some of those risks. Because the truth is, when you take the chance to look at risks, you'll find that actually most of them are two-way doors. Or most of them are one-way doors that can be made two-way if you put in the thoughts to make it that way. So I hope that by introducing this framework to you, I've given you the means to be more intentional and comfortable in taking risks, and that the next time you stand in front of one of those doors, I encourage you to really ask yourself, is this a two-way door? Is this a one-way door that I can make a two-way door? Or is this truly a one-way door? And then I hope that this framework helps you be more comfortable walking through some of those doors, and I hope that the risks you do choose to take lead you somewhere really awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. That was fantastic. And not only is that great advice for all of our seniors, but it's great advice for me, as you know, I face daily risks and challenges. I really, really appreciate that. And now I am proud to present you the 2024 Young